only got, okay, I'll start over. We were hoping that we would be able to award the bid today for the Fellowship Trail, but given we only had one vendor bidding on that, and as it turned out, they were very much exceeding the estimate for that. So we are going to wait till the end of summer, which or we're told is a better time to go out to bid for that anyway. And we did try to get an extension. So unfortunately, that's not moving forward for a little bit longer.
You're going to have it on your agenda for your monthly meeting to reject the bid. Formally reject the bid.
Okay, so we can't do that now.
No, I'd rather you do it in the monthly meeting.
Okay.
Formally reject the bid.
No, I do remember that you're the guy that said we can do any business we want.
Can. Okay, but you remember we had a lawyer write me a letter about that. So since we don't need to do it tonight, let's not
get.
I think it can.
More money.
I think it can wait a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we could.
But at least we're informing everyone that that's not going to be happening.
Abundance of caution. If we are going to do it, award it, we had awarded tonight. But nonetheless,
rejecting.
Yeah, we have time to reject.
All right, excellent. And the other thing we're all here to talk about is the plastic ban ordinance that came to us through our sustainability committee. I think there's someone here whose birthday it is who might want to tell us a little bit about that. Chris, did you want to talk about this order? Yes, happy birthday and thank you for coming.
Thank you. Chris Taylor, 13 Phillips Lane, head of sustainability. And the idea that we have that we're proposing to the Board of Supervisors is to ban single-use plastic bags, straws, and styrofoam containers used for food. There will be a grace period of 6 months so that businesses will be informed before they have to implement it. And if there's a inconvenience for them, they can request to have a, what's the word?
Extension? For lack of a better word,
yeah.
Extension.
Well, not extension, but just
waiver. Well,
relief. How about relief?
Okay.
I think that's ahead of the ordinance.
Yes.
Gotcha. And the reason for having this ban is because it's not like going to make that much of a difference in the use of everyday's in the actual impact on the environment. It's just about educating people to be more aware about the plastic that they use and to start thinking about ways of reducing it. The idea of like having to carry a bag with you might seem like an annoyance, but that's the kind of annoyance that we actually need. And I expect our government to help us shift in the direction of being more responsible to the environment, because it's in our generation that will make the difference for whether or not our kids have a planet to live on or not. Will be able to sustain them. See if Kirk has any more things to add.
Well, I'd like to hear eventually from the litter lifters, because I know that they've picked up a lot of traffic here. And plastic bags has been a huge part of what they've collected, not just in our township, but in everyone else's township. So it's not necessarily just styrofoam. Styrofoam is a brand name, so it's expanded polystyrene, which is, you know, the foam, when you break it up, it breaks into smaller pieces and smaller pieces, and that's almost impossible to clean up. But there's certainly ways for businesses to talk to the Board of Supervisors to, you know, allow them to have more time. If a business has a huge inventory of plastic bags, then they will probably be allowed to continue to use them. It only applies to single-use plastic bags that are used at a business for merchandise and food. We're talking places like Wawa, Ludwig's Market, 7-Eleven. It's not a huge number of stores. And, you know, everyone here is getting used to the fact from Euclid and other townships that they have to bring their own bags anyway. So most people here have 5 or 6 bags in their car. So it's just a matter of, making it consistent throughout. We've already talked to the Wawa manager, and he thought this would have come out last fall. He said, we do it in a second. We just need you to pass notes, or else we're not going to do it. So it should be very simple to move forward for our businesses in West Vincent.
So we're here tonight just to hear all of your concerns and take them into account.
And I hope answer our questions.
Sure.
So is Wawa waiting for us to have an ordinance so
Yes.
they could tell the
Yeah, they won't-
customers the
they won't
township
do it.
made us do it?
No, they just won't do it.
that.
Because they have to.
Yeah. Don't put words in my mouth.
I wouldn't say that, I wouldn't say
that.
that they were going to be negative towards it. They actually embraced it.
Yeah, they're expecting it.
But because their business model, I think it's cheaper for them to do it the way they're doing it. They're not going to change without a little push. But the people who work there embrace it.
If it costs them more to do it, does it cost us more to do business with them?
To have a plastic bag ban, I mean, it doesn't cost them money to not have the plastic. They're then offering to sell a reusable bag that people could purchase if necessary.
And so it won't cost them more.
It should. They might even save money, actually.
And they get all the money from the sale, right?
Yes.
It's 15 cents for a paper bag.
Okay, I'm saving this question for later. You guys
Yes.
can do more stuff, and Julia probably has a question.
Okay.
Well, sure. Do I have to say my name? I'm not saying my address, and we can talk about that later. Julia Brandell. You guys know where I live. I would imagine that Wawa would love for us to ban the bags because that's going to save them money because they don't have to buy bags anymore. They can make money on the reusable bags. That might be why they want to do it. Whatever happened to maybe giving people an option? Remember when you used to go into the grocery store and they'd say, would you like paper or plastic? Whatever happened to that option? How about something like that, where you give people an option as to what they want to use, and maybe they take the higher road and not go with the plastic. But, and I'm going to cry about my straws, but I'm just going to buy my straws and I'm just going to carry a box of them around with me and stuff them in all my drinks anyway. So you're not going to be able to fix that one. I just think that it's, obviously, yes, there's litter. Yes, there's plastic bags. There's all sorts of things in in our litter that we're finding all over the place, bottles and things like that too. But it seems to me like just a way to, you want to educate people. It sounds like you just want to control people. No, you can't do that. Maybe give people options, maybe teach people a little bit, maybe have like a nice little recyclable plastic bag station where people can recycle their plastic bags. Just some ideas as opposed to just banning things.
I do believe that in this ordinance, that is part of it, that you have to ask.
That you have to ask, right? I mean, I go to a lot of restaurants and they don't stuff a straw in my drink anymore. That's not what they do. But if you want a straw, there are straws available for you if you decide that you need one. Some people have to drink out of a straw. Now, usually they bring one with them because they know that, they need a bendy straw or whatever in order to drink their drink. But how about, just not offering a bag? I know that like when I go to Wawa, a lot of the times they stick my stuff in a bag and I say, I don't need a bag.
Do you know if that got in there? Because that was one of the revisions that, I had given a suggestion of that we should put that you have.
Do we have this ordinance somewhere? Is it posted? Is it on the website? Okay. Oh, I can look it up on my iPad. I brought it with me.
That you have to ask about the bag.
You have to ask, do you want it, or do you want to pay the penalty?
I don't know if you have to.
Well, no, instead of banning them, they're available, but you have to ask for it. But you would have to pay for it.
But you have to ask people if they want a bag at all.
Right.
So if they have to pay for it, we still have to ask if they want it at all.
Right.
So it's training the the cashier and the public to think about the question. That's part of it.
Right. I'm sure I'm going to come up with something else, but I mean, I'll go back and I'll read it. But sometimes these, you know, the ordinances and everything get squished, you know, get pushed through. And then there's like one little thing in there that maybe if you just change that one little thing, it would have made it so much easier for everyone to swallow. Okay, I'm going to get down now.
Thank you. Bendable straw.
I need a bendable straw.
Carl Brockwitz. I'm not sure who wrote the ordinance, where it was supplied from. It's very verbose. There's a lot of whereases. There's a lot of redundancies in here. The statement about, single use, section 4A1, commercial establishment may make available for sale to a customer. 2, may make available for sale otherwise to a patron. Reusable bags, recyclable paper bags. We go right through this. You're dictating what people are going to do. Following on with what was just said,
Yeah,
there are times I'd like to use a paper bag. I use them when I can. There are lots of times I use a recyclable bag. There are items I'd like to put in a plastic bag. I buy things at the grocery store. I'd like to put my ice cream in a plastic bag. We used to get wax paper bags that we would put our ice cream in, a lined paper bag that we put our ice cream in, but that's one more bag to inventory. So that didn't wreck the paper bag and all the other paper packaged goods in our bag. I'd like an option. This is targeted at Wawa, I assume, the largest producer of convenience trash. We have top-loading trash trucks that go through the township, and when they go by, there's just trash flying out of the top of the truck. We could regulate that too. That's where a lot of this, I think, comes from, on roads that are not connected to Wawa. I would also like to suggest that we don't have a price mandated, because first of all, paper bags cost more than 15 cents. I looked it up on my way here. If I was going to buy paper bags for my business, they're going to cost me more than 15 cents. And in 2 years, with the cost of with the effective inflation, it's going to be higher. Are we going to modify the ordinance? We're going to have a COLA. In other words, you're trying to even the playing field, but some of the businesses in the township already use paper bags. So the ordinance is requiring that there be a line item in the receipt from the registered receipt for bags. So a number of the small businesses in the township that use bags don't have registers that are elaborate computer systems. So to program that register is not doable, or a line item that says plastic or paper bag fee. Let's just let the businesses absorb the cost, provide paper bags, and have the option of a plastic bag. The way around this for any business is to have a more durable, slightly thicker film bag that is reusable. Your term doesn't define a reusable bag or a single-use bag well enough. It's a very subjective definition, because I can make a single-use bag work many times, and the weight limit that's in the ordinance is not enough. You can put 5 bags of sugar in, 5 bags of flour. Sugar is now 4 pounds, into a plastic bag and carry it, and it'll hold up. So these standards, it doesn't make a lot of sense when you actually work through it. And then the enforcement, you're giving this to the manager or the manager's designee to enforce. One more thing now, the manager's got on their desk. This goes on and on and on. I get what you're trying to do. Let's encourage the businesses to do this. If you really want to make paper, then paper or plastic as an option. I'm fine with polystyrene, expanded polystyrene going away. No problem. It is a scourge. Plastic straws, I do not use reusable straws. Have you tried to clean one of those? Have you ever used a metal straw? They're horrible. They're expensive, they're inconvenient, and they're horrible. So I would like to have something other than a crappy, fall apart paper straw available for my drink, because if I don't drink it in 20 minutes, the straw is gone. It's my choice, not your choice. I would like that option. The straw is not the biggest problem here. Let's just deal with The bags, I'm fine with that. Give me an option. And I'm not interested in paying 15 cents. All the businesses in the township are all equally affected. Wawa's not gonna, Wawa doesn't charge 15 cents for a bag unless you tell them they're gonna do that. Let's not do that. Let the businesses, let the market absorb this. If they're gonna do it, let them do it. I really, really hate going to Trader Joe's and any other place that is forced to do this. It's super annoying. I'm being penalized directly and made to like I'm some sort of schmuck because I didn't bring a recyclable bag with me. I didn't know I was going to the store and I'm in a different vehicle. It's just won't charge. And it's already below the cost. So let's just forget the pretense. And this ordinance is way too verbose. It should be half a page. Just, I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to mention too, in that same section that Carl was mentioning, number 3 does have in here, a commercial establishment shall train employees to ask customers first before providing a single-use plastic item. So it does.
But if you're outlawing
Ask them
plastic bags, then why would you have that?
It wouldn't be it.
See what I mean about the ordinance is already, it needs a lot of work before it's even considered. It's really.
Before Kathy talks, Dave was about to talk.
Yeah, on the 15 cents in here, and I didn't write this, it's, I don't know what section we're on here, but near the back. There's a state mandatory uniform charge of 15 cents per bag. That's what it says.
State, now it's using the verb state.
Oh,
Mandatory.
okay. I was reading it quickly, so not Pennsylvania state, but they need to say it's a 15-cent charge. I got it. Thank you.
Which paragraph?
It's 2. It's
Oh,
they have to say it, state
Yeah,
it, to
just-
sign. It's not that
just say it.
not that it's Pennsylvania. I thought maybe that there was a mandatory charge.
Thank you for joining us, Kathy.
Okay, I'm Kathy Cook. I'm with the Chester County Environmental Alliance Plastic Pollution Task Force. That's a mouthful. And I'm also Beyond Plastic speaker, and I'm with Food and Water Watch. And the reason for the plastic bags is because plastic gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and it leaches chemicals, even in the smallest particle. And these chemicals are carcinogens and hormone disruptors. And so that's why all of these plastic bag bans are going into effect. And I think you have to have a lot of this verbiage because of legalities. I think it's well done. I have a couple of little suggestions. When we're talking about the reusable bags, we should say reusable non-plastic bags, because a lot of people are taking heavier, thick film plastic bags with non-stitched handles and calling them, reusable. And the whole idea of these is to get rid of the plastic. So if you go ahead and have a heavier plastic bag, you're kind of defeating the purpose. So if you put in non-plastic with stitched handles, that would help.
Some bags there's an outside layer of vinyl or whatever.
Yeah. So I talked to Farron Savage from Penn Environment because he works across the state on this, and I work with him, and he thought, putting that in will help. At least, maybe, working on that verbiage would be helpful, or a minimum of such and such plastic, something like that. It's a consideration. You also need to define straws, or do something about the straws, because there are disabled individuals, and Beyond Plastics does a skip the straw campaign, where if you want to go into an establishment and you want a straw, they're not going to give you a straw, but if you ask for them, you get it. And it's not a charge, but you get one. And that helps disabled people or somebody that really wants a straw. And then the uniform charge of 15, you might want to just say a minimum charge of 15 cents. That way, if a establishment finds that 20 cents would level the playing field for them, that would be great. So I just think a couple of little tweaks on this. And unfortunately, when we have lawyers involved, we have to have all this verbiage. just the way the world.
Verbiage is redundant. There's a lot of extra, there is a lot, I have a lot of experience with ordinances. You don't know that. There's a lot of excess in this ordinance. And the establishment of the ordinance power is already in the government. It doesn't need to be in the ordinance. It makes it look political, and it's just, I think if you want to have this be enforceable and have this be something other than a one-sided effort, it would be better to edit that words from out. We don't need a 15-cent price or any price bags mandated. Let the business make that decision.
Everybody's got their opinion.
Great, thank you very much. Did you have a question for her, Sarah?
I did. Why a stitched handle?
Apparently, there are some very
Am
flimsy reusable bags, and yeah, maybe once they can carry it, but
And they break, yeah.
yeah, it breaks. So
This might be a stitched handle. But
That's a heavy bag, that's.
yeah,
But this is what I take shopping. So I want to make sure it's legit. The other question was 18 pounds. For about 20 years, I had doctor advice not to carry more than 10 pounds with this arm. So why couldn't I have a smaller bag that wouldn't carry as much to help me follow my doctor's advice? Just, it's silly. Why
And
would
what
they have,
size?
it sounds so arbitrary, Carl.
Correct. What size paper bag are we talking about?
I have no
That's-
idea. Doesn't tell me.
I think it's a guideline just to make sure that you can handle what you. Very nice, thanks.
You're gonna put 18 pounds in that. That's a stitch handle. Little itty bitty bag.
You
Same
have
thing,
a
all
bag
different
with
size
you?
bags.
yeah.
I have a friend with a sample bag.
This is kind of where common sense comes in.
But let's not have an
Why don't we hear
ordinance
from
that
Beth and
needs to
Dorothy?
be interpreted by common sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's hear from Beth and Dorothy.
Yes, I'm ready.
Hi, I'm Beth Antosha. I'm at 1024 Linden Avenue, and I'm the chairperson for the Litter Lifters. I think it's really great that we're all talking about this because it is a hot topic. One of the reasons I wanted to talk is that we've been picking up litter in the township for 4 years. I have a spreadsheet if anybody wants to see it. We keep track of how many bags of litter we're picking up, and I love plastic bags for picking up litter because we have to have them. We've picked up 2,000 bags of litter. It's about 27 tons of litter. And so we do need plastic to clean up the roads. What we don't like is when we pick up hundreds of small single-use plastic bags that have either flown out of a truck, people throw them out of their cars, they get stuck in bushes, they get stuck in trees. We had a cleanup on the 27th. We got 80 bags of litter from Ludwig's Corner. That's 470 bags of litter that we've gotten over 6 cleanups and just a 2-mile stretch there. And Saturday, we were behind the bank and cleaning up, you know, along the wooded area, and there was a plastic bag stuck high in a tree and we couldn't reach it. So my friend Annie and I went back, I got my tree trimmer and we got the plastic bag stuck out of the tree. So, you know, it is these plastic bags are everywhere. They're in ditches, they're in bushes, they're in trees, and we pick up hundreds of them. And if I had more volunteers, we could actually count the number of bags we're actually picking up at these cleanups, but we don't have that many volunteers. You know, we're there to remove the litter and get it off the roads and beautify the area. So that's my thoughts on it. I do believe we need a plastic bag ban. I think it's going to be an example to the other municipalities in Chester County. I'm on a steering committee with Keep Chester County Beautiful, and we do talk about all things to do with litter management. And this is one component of the litter issue in the county, is the plastic bags that are everywhere.
Thank you. We really appreciate what you do. How come I bet you pick these up too, right?
Thousands.
So what do you want us to do about them?
I
We
wasn't
want to
gonna say
educate
anything,
people
so.
to use stainless steel or reusable water bottles.
Yeah, so this will go home and eventually end up in the recycle bin, but I will use it. Part of the too many questions. I'll come back to you later. Thanks.
I'm Dorothy Lynn, 714 Sun Valley Court. I am the administrator for the litter lifters. Reiterating what Beth said, we have picked up many, many plastic bags and plastic straws and plastic cups and food containers, and which disintegrate. And so you're not able to necessarily get them all. My house faces Birch Run Road, and I lived there before the Wawa opened, and it's kind of sad how much more litter there is on it after the Wawa opened. And I don't blame the Wawa because they are very supportive of us, but people do need to be educated not to take the bag if they're just going to get rid of it. Many of the plastic things do get stuck on bushes and shrubs. They disintegrate or we can't reach them. Single-use plastic also is finding its way into the waterways. When you hear things about there's microplastics pretty much in all the water that we're all drinking, sadly, including probably your bottled water. In terms of education, people need to get used to keeping reusable bags in their car. So even if you make an unexpected shopping trip, you have one in your car. You can also get reusable insulated bags for your frozen items, so you don't have to put them in plastic. I personally love stainless steel straws and have drink from them all the time, and they all come with a handy little brush to clean out the inside of them. And yes, can be expensive, but they last a long time. And then you're not using single, and you can take them with you if you need to drink from a straw. And I will say 25 years ago, I lived in Germany, and carrying your reusable bags at that point in time was already standard practice. Most of the stores already charged for plastic, and many of them didn't even have them. We are behind the times. Euclid Township banned it. A few of the other townships are banning it. And it's just, people need to change their habits for this to then be productive.
And it does take me back to what I wanted to talk to both of you about. How are we going to energize that education? Because look how many people are here today. How do we get the word out that the reason we need to do this is because we're all throwing stuff out the car windows? But why would I punish the Wawa for Carl throwing something out of his truck window? Why don't we? The Wawa did not do that. The Wawa was the source of the bag, but not the litter.
We're not punishing the Wawa.
Why are you?
No, we're punishing. Well, because you're enforcing a ban on Wawa, and Wawa is not who let that plastic bag go.
Didn't you say Wawa said?
Wawa's fine with it.
Yeah. They've had to do it in Euclid.
And we're not
about
targeted Wawa. I don't.
Yeah, and
think. We
also-
just happen to be a big user in our
That's an example. It's not a target, but it's like.
No, I will say, a year ago, I was at a volunteer breakfast for the CCIU, and next to me was a manager, and he managed 10 Wawas. And he said it would make it easier for us as a Wawa corporation that everybody had the plastic bag ban. Because from a supply chain, they've got to supply every store with different, things. So some don't need the bags, some do need the bags. So that is, he verbally said this to me at this volunteer appreciation luncheon. So, and I think the state of New Jersey, the whole state has a plastic bag ban. So, I mean, this is something that is rolling out. And, again, I see it that it will only improve our environment, improve our community, and make it cleaner and be an example to other townships.
The pink shirt lives in New Jersey if you have questions.
I forgot to say something. Our group is available to help educate citizens. That's what we do. So we can go around and do some education, webinars, movies, whatever. And the other thing is there are 26 municipalities and 12 states in the United States that ban plastics. And there's a lot more coming down the pipeline. So this is just the wave of the future, I think.
Are they as limited as ours, not dealing with, so we're doing styrofoam and we're doing bags.
You're doing a lot. And there are some bands that don't have styrofoam.
but the
And
sample
I'm
that we
surprised
had,
that we got no pushback from that yet, and I thought we would.
so the sample that we got from Euclid Township, didn't it have the plastic utensils and stuff in it?
No, that was, we had it in there at one point, but we felt it was a little too onerous to do that.
And I'm doing this because my grandson has juvenile diabetes type 1, and plastic is associated with diabetes, with cancer, with Parkinson's disease, ADHD, all kinds of different things. And if you take a glass of water, tap water, and then take your bottled water, that will have twice as much at least of plastic in it and carcinogens.
Came from my cat, just so
Well,
you know.
yeah, but I'm just saying if
Bottle
you're,
leaches.
you know, and then if you set that bottle in your car and it's hot, it leaches more. So there's a lot to eliminating plastic that, you know, we haven't gotten into tonight.
Thank you. I like the idea of your skip the straw campaign. That sounds interesting. Thank you.
Hi, sorry, Julia Brendel, I'm back up here again. I do want to comment because Carl got up after me. I think most of the trash on the roads is coming from the trash trucks and people's trash cans falling over because they haven't been picked up or overflowing because they haven't been picked up. I think that's something that you need to look at, not just that everybody's heaving stuff out of their car windows as they're driving down the road. I don't think that's where the bulk of our trash is coming from. The other thing is, so it looks like the any bags provided for use by a commercial establishment operated by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania or otherwise provided by a federal Commonwealth or local government agency. So that's the liquor store. Oh, sure. Okay.
And we're not just being nice to them, that we're not allowed to regulate them.
Right. We shouldn't be allowed to regulate anybody on this kind of stuff. So that was basically, I wanted to reiterate what Carl was saying, because I think that's a bigger problem when it comes to trash. I do also want to say one thing. I've got my stainless steel water bottle over there, and I try to grab it when I leave the house, but I drink a lot of water every day. And a lot of water that you drink, depending on where it comes from, isn't all that safe. I would much rather drink water that I got from Wawa out of a plastic bottle. Or so if you're thinking about banning those sorts of things, there's a lot of reasons why you need to be able to have plastic bottles available at convenience stores, because you can't just, like, if you get that idea, like, that doesn't work. And I have a stainless steel water bottle, but I drink 15 of those a day. I'm not going to drive home to my house to make sure that I have safe water to drink, to refill it every hour. So just the thought there. It's a great idea. Everybody should have a stainless steel water bottle, but it's not feasible to think that people are only going to be drinking out of stainless steel water bottles. And by the way, when I do go out, I take my straw out of my drink when they refill my drink, and I use the same straw. So it's not a single use straw.
Thank you.
Jack Blanchett, Fellowship Road. I'm all for reducing litter, but I am opposed to the township creating a ordinance to selectively ban plastic straws, plastic bags, and styrene containers. I feel pretty strongly that littering is a behavior problem. So banning a few categories of potential litter, I think, will have no effect on changing the behavior of people that actually litter. It only limits the types of things that they're going to throw out. They're still going to litter. So I think the township would be much better served by actively enforcing or aggressively enforcing the existing litter ordinance, which allows for fines of up to $1,000 per occurrence. And possibly also installing signage throughout the township warning potential litterers that the township police are going after people. They're cracking down and they're subject to potentially some pretty big fines. Another reason I'm opposed to the ban is I believe that plastic straws, plastic bags, and styrene containers really do represent a pretty small percentage by volume of the weight and volume of the litter in the township. My wife and son pick up litter when they walk the dogs near our home, and the vast majority of what they collect are glass bottles, aluminum cans, plastic water bottles, and fast food paper bags with trash in them. So banning plastic straws, plastic bags, and styrene containers will have little positive effect on the overall volume but also create a significant inconvenience for the merchants in the township, and also for the residents of the township. The final reason I'm opposed to the ban is that the Board of Supervisors actually only has the authority to implement such a ban for a few specific types of businesses, which even further limits the positive effect that such a ban might have. If you look under the Second Class Township Code, Article 15, Corporate Powers, see Section 1532, Regulation of Business. The Board of Supervisors may only regulate by ordinance the business activities of 4 types of businesses. Transient merchants, which we have, cable television companies, which I don't believe we have, restaurants, which we have, maybe 3, and junk dealers or scrapyards, which I don't think we have either.
Thank you very much. And thank your wife and son for picking up.
Dorothy Lynn, litter lifter, back again. While a lot of when you've done 40 some litter pickups, you kind of become experts in litter. And yes, some do come off of moving vehicles, including trash trucks. Some do come when people put their garbage out or the recycling out and it blows over and they don't pick it up. But a fair amount does come from people intentionally littering, whether they're throwing it out of their vehicles or when they're walking and dropping it. You'd be amazed how many small liquor bottles are found along the roadways on Route 100. Apparently people like to drink and drive and don't want to get caught, so they throw that out. There are also, while yes, there are a lot of bottles, glass bottles and plastic cans, there are many plastic bags. I can't tell you, we've probably picked up hundreds or thousands of plastic bags and food containers, plastic and styrofoam food containers, which tend to disintegrate. So then you don't get everything. And it isn't just about the plastic and litter, it's the plastic getting into the waterway, the plastic with the cancer-causing chemicals. It's a whole environmental issue and not just a small little thing in West Vincent. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Kip Archino. I'm a member of the Sustainability Committee. And you would think I would be standing here talking in favor of this. Actually, I was the 1 out of 5 who voted. We barely had a quorum. And who voted against it because we had put plastic cups in this and the committee decided to remove them. I'm not here actually to plead for that, but I am in a way like some of the other people who've spoken, that this is a serious problem. And the bigger problem, and you know, I know Ryan put energy in his Bertrandville Posse article, and then he turned around and talked about the reverse in his next Bertrandville Posse article. So it was hard to figure out which way he was going. But the one thing that we don't talk about, I think, is how this affects our health. In 2019, the state buried in the budget any possibility of voting for a non-plastic ordinance. Such a fuss was raised that the next time they passed the budget, they took it out. They, however, didn't deal with it at all in any way, which is making it responsible for every single governmental body to create their own. One of the things I think that we should all be working on is talking to our state representatives and our state senators and so forth, and telling them that there should be a state one so it's uniform and there isn't all this arguing and there isn't all this difficulty all across the state. For instance, Upper Marion included utensils in theirs. Upper Marion has one. That includes King of Prussia Mall, and they've got one. Nobody's screaming and yelling because they're abolishing bags, et cetera, et cetera. They have a lot more to worry about than we do. But one of the things that I think we have to worry about, as much as the energy that Brian talked about, the difference in energy between making plastic and making other things and how it's so much cheaper. And the litter is important. All of this is important. But I think as much as anything, our health is important.
which is why I've brought to you guys, enter in the record and read yourselves. And I know, Sarah, you've sent out some messages and you've sent out some messages. And that since I am included on those messages, and you do too, Bernie, about the importance of, I mean, what's going on in the world with this. And for instance, I heard today, or I think yesterday, that the top issue politically in Germany and France and the countries in Europe is global warming. The top issue in the United States is immigration, women's rights. We're buried someplace down. And I still think that we need to make a lot more noise when we're talking to our representatives about how we're going to handle this. It's a complex, the whole thing is very complicated. I think that it would be good for the township and certainly for the Sustainability Committee to have some experts, people, scientists and other people to come in and talk about the various ways that we need to be dealing with this. And that's what we try to deal with as a committee. But I'm going to give you this because this just came in my Columbia University magazine yesterday. And it says this: how much plastic is in this water? You don't want to know. A typical 1 liter bottle contains nearly 250,000 polymer particles that can enter the bloodstream and lodge in the heart, brain, and other organs. I also heard a couple of days ago that it is all this is about how they're trying to track it, how they're figuring out where it is, how they're to see it. It's just all the different sizes, the mini ones, the regular molecules, the whatever, particles, 1 micrometer in length. For reference, a human hair is about 70 micrometers thick. So there you go. And one of the things that I heard the other day is that they are lodging, they've already discovered that they're lodging in the aorta and that this is causing strokes. And the more of these there are, the more frequent the strokes are. They said they predict there will be 40% of strokes will be caused by these particles lodging in your throat. So, Sarah, don't like the fact that you were drinking out of a plastic bottle.
I know you told me at the last
I figured
sustainability meeting.
In my naive way, I figure the most obvious way is to keep it from drinking it. I mean, it's bad enough that we touch it when we touch our credit cards, when we touch our steering wheels, when we put on our shoes, when we walk across people's carpets. It's bad enough that, of course, you hope you can wash your hands fast if you thought you picked some up. But when you're ingesting them in the water that you drink, in any beverage you drink, you're in big trouble. And that's why I included the cups in the original legislation. I know that some people here say we should have a choice, and you should. So when I went into Wawa the last time, I asked them if they would put my smoothie into my steel container. The guy said, I don't know. The guy who's mixing it. He went back and talked to the manager and he said, no, we can't do that. You have to have it in the plastic cup, our plastic cup. They're selling those little steel containers for coffee and other things at the counter, but you're not allowed to put your stuff that you buy there in it. You have to take it in plastic. So anyway, so I thought that.
Yep, I don't disagree with you, and I don't do this just to annoy you, but it really is much convenient to me. But maybe the committee can answer the question. Of those 50 streams that were tested at 300 points of data that are mentioned in our ordinance, why didn't they test the French Creek? They were testing exceptional value streams across the whole. Do we know if our exceptional value stream really has critical levels? And if we move up to the headwaters of the French Creek and the Birch Run and stuff, are we going to find different levels of those things in our water? I don't know. And the bottle's the devil of this, because the water, it's good Bertrandville water. So
we got to get you field travel money.
I think I have one, but it's usually
There you go. So anyway, I guess, do you have any questions of me? I realize that you're talking about what you're talking about. I just wanted to express the fact that I just think we should think more seriously, or whatever, about people's health. One of our big pushes on the Sustainability Committee is going to be education, how we can educate more people at how many different, with how many different sources. And make people more aware. I think a lot of people are in denial still about global warming and about drinking plastics, but whatever.
Thank you. I'm hoping the bourbon will dissolve.
George?
George Delcinos, Hollow Road. So what is the purpose of mandating a fee for paper bags?
Purpose is to have the consumer realize that there is a cost to having any sort of bag that they're going to use, that they will then take it upon themselves to bring their own bag and think more responsibly. It's not an ideal situation. The paper bags actually are damaging to the environment. They're not like, nothing's not damaging to the environment.
And plus, I think that it's allowing the business to be able to recoup.
But shouldn't that be the business's decision if they want to recoup the cost or not?
They can not offer any bags. There's a lot of places that don't.
Or they could give a bag away.
Kathy, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you probably have a good answer for that.
Well, basically, you've got to create a habit. So the 15 cents or more will say, oh, I've got to remember again. The other thing is you're asking a business to buy a different source bag. So that entails maybe a little bit more money involved. So this helps recoup that. And so it's twofold. It's the cost to the business so that it's better for the business, and it's also for reinforcement.
But how are we involved in a business's profit and loss if they decide to take a loss on the bags for the convenience of the customer? Who are we to tell them?
Taking a loss on the bags when they give you a plastic bag, they've already figured that into their basic fee of whatever they're selling.
Yes.
So
why is a paper bag different?
Paper bag can be a little bit more expensive, and that's why we don't want to inconvenience or.
But it is an inconvenience to the business. You're mandating a fee. You're mandating, as I understand it, somebody said something different in the point of sale terminal to register that as a separate cost. And everything takes time. The checkout person has to ask the person if they want a paper bag and tell them it costs whatever the fee is. What if the business decides, I don't want to delay my checkout because I'm paying somebody to check people out, and I'll just give the bag, I'll eat the fee. Why can they not do that? I'm not aware of any other item where the township mandates a business the cost that they charge for that item. Maybe I'm wrong. Is there anything?
I don't know a point.
I don't think there is any. I mean, what, we're gonna send out the zoning officer to find somebody for giving away a paper bag? Well,
Would you like to say that if you want to give the bag away, that they don't have to charge the fee?
yeah, I think the fee's ridiculous.
Okay.
I mean,
We'll talk about adding that into the ordinance.
or taking it out.
Well, you could make it recommended versus mandated it.
Maximum or
Optional for the
optional
business
fee.
to tack on that fee if they'd like to.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, like you said, we're already talking about what if the fee is different next year? How are we going to change the ordinance to cover that? The business just wants to face it. Most of the transactions in the township, the cost of the bag, paper or plastic, is small compared to the total transaction.
The intention of the ordinance is to change people's habits to bring their own bag, to not be dependent on the stores to offer the bags.
So there's other ways to change behavior too, other than, fines and violations, right? I mean, we talked about education, and I mean, that's the whole point of education, is to make people want to change their behavior.
We know that there's problems with the environment for many decades, and we're barely scratching the surface. So we're trying to help people.
Yeah, I understand, but in the beginning when you presented this, you said the impact on the environment will be small, but we want to change people's behavior. And that's the point of this. I mean, I don't know how much we're spending to construct this ordinance and to build a regulatory responsibility within the township to enforce it. But it seems like that's money you could put into helping people realize what's going on. If that's, present them the information, let them make the decision. Why are we forcing it on them?
There's not been any other commercial areas that have had a lot of problem with it. They kind of adopt it and people are accepting it. You go to Wegmans or any place.
Well, because somebody else accepted it doesn't mean we have to. I mean, there's a reason we are our own municipality.
But it's becoming more the norm, and people are expecting it because they want a cleaner environment.
Do we know, I guess you guys probably figured out how many plastic bags the township uses in a year, just estimated?
Uses roughly 300 bags. And if you multiply it by your population, that could roughly be what you potentially can take out of the system. And all of those bags create greenhouse gases, which ultimately...
I would say, so 300 bags at 3 cents each is about $10. So $10 worth of fuel is, if you're talking about greenhouse gases, people use way, way more than $10 worth of gas. The greenhouse gas thing is irrelevant to this calculation. It's not relevant compared to the amount of other sources. This is minuscule. It's pointless to use that as a reason. If we don't want the trash in the township, which nobody does, that maybe has a plausible argument. But again, as someone mentioned here, a lot of that trash isn't because people throw it out the windows, it's coming out of trash trucks. You think most of the bags are thrown out the window by people? So if we get rid of bags, what about the other stuff they're throwing out? Glass bottles? Are we going to ban glass bottles? Yeah.
The 20 things that are inside of the bag that they put in there before they throw it away. Now you've got 20 things out on the road as opposed to everything inside.
I'm just saying, I mean, this is going to make us feel good, but I don't think it's going to have a significant impact. And I really think it's absurd for us to start telling businesses what they can charge for products. Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Sorry, Julia Brindell, and I promise I'll stop after this. I just have one comment on the whole Upper Marion put this ban into effect, and they outlawed plastic cutlery and all that kind of stuff. You do realize that Upper Marion Township barely has any residents. They don't go to meetings. Nobody lives there. It's all businesses. I'm telling you right now because I'm in real estate and I know that Upper Marion Township is full of businesses. The people that are at those, they're not going to come to a meeting. They're not going to fight it. They're just going to say, okay, you're in a township where it's residents, and we only have a few businesses in our township. It's not like we're a mall where we have millions of people coming and going all the time. We only have a few places that you can even use a plastic bag, or you can even get a plastic straw from. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous that you go to Wawa and they won't put your smoothie in your stainless steel cup. Like, that's just ridiculous. That should be something that is addressed. Why can't they use the reusable cup? But give people the option to do the right thing. Don't make them pay the 15-cent fine because they want a bag. Like, that's ridiculous. If the business wants to give bags away, paper bags, whatever kind of bags they want to give away, let them do it. That's the cost of doing business. But if you impose a mandated 15 cents for every bag, let me tell you something, with the cost of everything these days, you think anybody gives a crap about 15 cents for a bag? Adding that on to all the other things that they're paying for, they're not even going to care. But at the same time, forcing them to pay it, I mean, where are we right now? You want to force somebody to pay 15 cents so they can get a paper bag when a business may just want to give them the paper bag, just like George said? Like, what is that? I think it's a fine. That's what I look at. You're a bad girl because you didn't bring your reusable bag, so you have to pay the 15-cent fine in order for us to give you a bag. That's exactly what that sounds like to me. Thank you.
Kirk rambled, I forgot to give my address at 668 Birchland Road. According to the ordinance here, in section 4, it says that a commercial establishment may make available for sale of paper bags for a uniform charge of 15 cents. It's unclear if that means they may not make available bags or they don't have to charge 15 cents. It's kind of unclear there. And then in section 4 there it says any charge for recyclable paper bag or reusable bag shall be separately stated on the receipt, blah, 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 at time of sale. So does that mean that any charge can also be zero? And that the establishment can provide paper bags on their own without any fee?
It's very poorly written.
Proposal. If you're gonna charge for it.
We can clarify it.
15. So it's mandatory, but not, is that what you're saying? I'm on page 7.
Yeah.
B.
7.
2. Oh, I printed it myself. I got page number.
I'm not saying it.
Am I reading it?
Well, I mean, that's kind of why we're here talking about it, to clarify what we think it should be. So it gets to a point where we approve it.
Come on down.
Bill Biebel, 473 Fairmont Drive. Couple points. First of all, I was a businessman my whole career, one of those profit-seeking, nasty business people. And when I hear discussion about helping a business to rationalize their supply chain by eliminating one of these two products, that makes my skin crawl. Because, okay, because if it's in the business interest to do it and spend more money on a product but carry less products and reduce the cost of their supply chain, they will do it. If it's not in their interest to do it, they're not going to do it. So I think we should stop pretending that the township should be helping a business decide how to run its business. If Wawa said it'd be better to have it all one, they could do that tomorrow. They can make that decision. So let's just stay out of it. And the second thing is this whole thing about charging for a reusable bag or any of these other things. Again, the business can make the decision. I'm going to throw that in. My cost, I'm going to eat it. It's good business, and my customers may like it. And they may also find that, no, you know what? I am going to charge because it's an inconvenient pain in the butt, and they might as well feel it, particularly if they don't have another choice of where to go, they're going to eat it. But if they do have a choice of another place to go, they'll take their business elsewhere if it's off of aggravation. And I know right here, well, let me say this, I live 6 months a year somewhere else and 6 months here. And the somewhere else I live has a plastic bag ban, and it is one of the biggest annoyances in day-to-day life. Yes, I take it into the supermarket. Half the time I forget, walk back to the trunk and bring it back again. But I walk in the hardware store, I'm going to buy one thing and I end up needing 4 or 5. They can't give me a bag. Now what am I supposed to do? Carry it out like this? You know, there is no choice. So I am with that gentleman there where give me a choice, okay? And if you are doing the job educating people, more and more people will choose the reusable bags. Let them do it. So that's the one set of things I like to, let's have the choice and let's stop with this deal that we're going to help a business decide how to run their business. They can do that very, very well themselves. The other question I would raise about the health benefits that are identified or the health risks. It's very easy to say these chemicals are in here, whatever they may be. But the question is, are they at a level that is at or approaching where in fact they are known to be hazardous, or are they just in there? Because there are many, many things that are known to be there, and if they're kept below a certain level, generally are not hazardous to people's health. So again, I hadn't had any time to research, you know, all these reports in here or anything, but I would just question how much of these things are a statement of fact that is expressly true because it says these chemicals are in there, but are they at levels that make a difference? I don't know, and I wouldn't want to see you proceed with this with all the inconvenience it's going to bring without actually knowing what that means. And my final point, with the deal with the styrofoam containers and paper instead of styrofoam and whatnot. I know I have had plenty of poor experience with food in paper or cardboard containers that they get limp, and then they end up in your lap, you know, when you're sitting in the car trying to eat it or something else, and the styrofoam doesn't. So again, it comes back to what is the benefit versus the cost of doing all this stuff. And frankly, I am not convinced that it's worth putting this on people to go through this. And I guess with, as a closing remark, and I don't want to pick on you, but when you were opening remarks, you said this really won't make much of a difference is exactly my thought. And why the heck are we going to go through it? Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Barry?
Hey, Barry DeLibero, I'll pick up where he left off on the chemicals in the plastics. Being somebody that was in the plastics forming business, I owned a company for 35 years. I just finally closed it down. I will tell you that that's a very common terminology that is used where we talk about these cancer-causing chemicals in plastics. First of all, plastics are in everything. They're in all of our medical work now. We have all sorts of miracle things that come from plastics. So when you start talking about that, once a product is put together and those cancer-causing products are in there, the leaching out of them is minimal. And people always talk about the cancer-causing chemicals. They don't talk about the parts per million. They don't talk about if it has an ability to come back out of it, because your microplastics that they talk about being in that water, Sarah, are still plastics, which means they haven't broken down. For example, I'll ask this question very quick. Name one of the cancer-causing chemicals that are in the plastics. It is formaldehyde. And does it come out?
Yes.
At what rate?
I don't have that.
That's right, because people don't. It doesn't happen. Like people, it's fractional numbers is what you're going to find.
If you put that in your cart, we
right.
all have chemicals.
Nobody's eating a plastic bag.
We all have.
I haven't eaten one plastic bag yet.
In our heart, in our blood,
sure, I agree with you. I'm not eating a plastic bag. We're talking about plastic bags.
We're talking about all this place.
Right. So should we stop them in?
If you stop plastics, but we should be able to take the low-hanging fruit, which is the single-use plastics.
Yeah, I don't have a single. I've never had a single-use plastic bag in my life. My plastic bags that I get from Wawa or any place live at least twice. Once when I bring them home, second in the waste basket to pick up things, pick up trash on my property, things like that. Mine are at least 2, sometimes 3 times. So a single-use plastic bag, that all depends upon the person that maybe wants to throw it out. You're punishing a person that uses mine 3 times as opposed to somebody that threw one out the window. I've picked up garbage for 3 decades. I had to pick up garbage, the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. Lived on a farm right down the road that had, I don't know, about a 1/4 mile long stretch of frontage. And my father made me go out and pick up all the trash on the road on Route 100 before I could cut the grass down there. So I'm very familiar with picking it up. And over the years, it changed. It was tin cans. It was Kentucky Fried Chicken bags and containers. It was glass bottles, and things change as we go through this. And none of those were outlawed. Things just changed as time went on. It wasn't usable anymore because they came up with a substitute for it. So, but people are always littering. I can tell you that. That hasn't changed. So all you're going to do is change it from one thing to another thing. Okay, well, maybe the paper bags, when they throw them out, they're going to biodegrade. Well, hooray for that. But then the reason we got out of the paper bags was because we were chopping down the forest and the spotted owl losing his place to live. So we got away from that and we went to the plastic bags. Okay. Kip pointed out, and I don't want to go far away from the plastic bags. Kip pointed out that the Germans are far in advance of us on global warming, greenhouse gases. And what have they done? They've dropped nuclear, because nuclear is so bad, they're burning not only coal, lignite, the most polluting one of all. They're so far behind the curve on greenhouse gases. By the way, my plants love them. So I'm good with all that. Which, by the way, we're also in the lowest. Again, don't want to go too far away from this, but since it was brought up, we're in the lowest of the warming cycles ever recorded throughout history, through all the ice drillings and all that. And it's a lot harder to get out of a snowball than it is subtropics. Just to let you know, I don't want to go back to a snowball. So the point of this whole thing is that while I understand the nobility of it, I would say that Euclid has banned them, and I haven't seen any less in the plastic bags along the street there in Euclid. And maybe if it's the collective, which a lot of people like, is the collective, we get all rid of the trash bags sorry, because I use them as trash bags, the single-use bags, that it'll fix that. But there's going to be something else alongside the road. It's people's performance, it's people's actions, it's people's belief systems that they just throw things out. It's corrective action. And we're never going to correct people like that. In fact, we're going in a negative direction on that. So the plastic bags, while it is a feel-good device, like many of these things, it's a waste of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Any other comments?
So I'm gonna just take a second.
Sure.
Just to summarize, my concerns with this are like all the concerns I have with ordinances when we create them or enact them in this township or any township. Unless they're treated as what they are, which is law. So when you create a law, you have the intention of enforcing that law when the situation arises. So this ordinance is not very definable, therefore not really enforceable. So we're going to put ourselves in a position where we're asking people to do something that's not clearly and well defined. So let's please do that. If we're going to do this, the ordinance, the preamble is absolutely unnecessary. The whereas is unnecessary. Get down to brass tacks, don't repeat yourself. And the 15-cent thing, we do not need to charge for bags. Let the businesses, if they want to pay and not charge me, fine. That's between me and the business. We don't need that because you can't enforce it. Manager's not going to go into that business and say, I want to see the records, but you have to assume that she or her replacement or her designate is going to do that. Unless you put that system in place, this isn't an ordinance. So if it's an ordinance, treat it like an ordinance. Otherwise, you're making suggestions and motions or recommendations. So if you're going to call it an ordinance, treat it like an ordinance and make it legit, please. And let's just no charges. I do not need that. That's just, let's all be grown-ups and make our own choices. Thanks.
Thank you, Carl.
Good evening, Julia Foster, 1682 Hilltop Road. So I'm going to briefly give a business owner perspective. I think businesses across the country are seeing a wave of these enactments. This isn't a surprise. And so if a business isn't planning to have an alternative to plastic bags, there's something else that's wrong with what they're doing. And as a consumer, I am very grateful for the opportunity to not have to eat things that come in a styrofoam container because I don't have a choice. You call up a business, there is no alternative to be able to eating something that comes out of plastic. Finally, I appreciate the comments that folks made about creating habits. I think we all agree that single-use plastic isn't something that we want to have in our lives forever. And so we have to start taking little actions now and being more aware and thoughtful about how we're using these forever chemicals to eventually reach our ultimate goals of not having them be ubiquitous in our lives. So thank you for taking that up.
Thank you for your time.
Karen Planchak, Fellowship Road. I guess I'm a little confused. Is the ultimate goal is to get the litter off the streets of our township? Or is it to change the world? Like, I thought the ordinance started off just as a way to clean up our streets. And now I'm seeing it's escalating to places I didn't think it was going to go. I don't think the residents of West Vincent are the ones who are throwing their trash out the windows. It's people driving down 100. Oh, I'm finished with my Lowe's bag, so it gets tossed. It's not the residents of our township. It's other people driving through.
Thank you, Karen.
Any other comments? So I guess the question is, where do we go from?
No, I'm good. Just waiting to see what Dan had.
No, I was saying, I guess the question is, where do we go from here? Do we give sustainability a chance to bring this back to their group to see if they want to make any changes to what's sent? I know you, Dave, had said that you needed to make some changes.
Well,
to make it fit our ordinance.
the ordinance, in order to adopt it, I would have to convert it to codify it. So that's not substance, that's just form. So I'd have to do that anyway. So as long as I would be doing that, if there's some other substantive changes you think about making, and maybe sending back to sustainability. They heard the comments here. I heard the 15-cent bag. I heard questions about definition of a reusable bag, whether that needs to be shored up in some way. Questions about the 18-pound minimum bag. So it all kind of circulated primarily around that, and obviously the concern about the length of the ordinance, that all can be stripped out to a large degree. So it might be helpful to have the sustainability committee rethink it, having heard what they heard tonight, and maybe come back with a different proposal or recommendation.
Because we would need to advertise anyway.
Yeah,
we also wanted to get something out to the rest of the business owners. It's not just Wawa. There are other business owners that need an opportunity to.
So maybe they can make some recommendations on changing the parts of this that you've heard questions about, and then bring it back up again.
Did we send this out to the Ludwig's Corner businesses?
It did not go out. We were going to wait till after this, and then we would get it out before hearing.
Oh, I thought we said we should have it before this, so we would get their participation in this. Okay.
We did try that.
I missed that.
We did try that.
Oh, but we've already had this meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Okay.
We ran out of time.
Okay. It's still fairly perplexing to me. This. I look forward to the next. I confess, I had a single-use plastic bag blown out of my car on Route 100 North one day.
They found it.
Did you go back for it?
No, and there was a lot of traffic out that day, and my side windows both open, and I heard, and there it went. So I'm sorry, Beth.
Beth probably found it already.
I got it. It's fine. It's already at the dump.
With the other 500 bags of litter.
It was an empty bag, that I'm sure. So thank you.
Would Dave and the supervisors provide some comment back to us so that we can try to?
Yeah.
But what about the ones you just heard? Don't ignore them, please.
Well, we don't have all our committee here, so it's not necessarily fair that.
Are we videoing, Kathy?
Yes.
So we've been recording this. Share it with
I think the comment about adding, was it non-plastic to be reusable? Yeah. Yeah, so definitely a lot of good points. And, personally, I am starting to feel the pressure of the straw. And I like the idea of creating something around, trying to encourage people to skip the straw as a choice. So, that's something to consider too, because I think that's the biggest pushback we've received, really, is about the straw.
And sustainability.
There are some people
there
of
are
issue.
recyclable non-paper straws. that just decompose back.
Yeah,
and
Tell
did you say
children.
there was one that you had recently that was pretty good?
Yes, my wife had a paper straw, all paper. She let it sit in her drink for 8 hours and it was fine.
Yeah, I mean.
So it's, the argument that they go to hell through one drink.
Yeah, well, depends
There's
on the
no
quality.
basis.
That's
Well,
There's one I've ever used that's exactly the problem. That's why it's an issue. So.
Well, to move it along, do
Change.
you want to summarize the comments tonight and get them to sustainability, and then you all can take a look at it, okay? How about we do that?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Good idea.
Give them one more chance to be in control of it.
Part of it, I guess.
Just checking.
Yeah.
I said, was he the we who was gonna do it?
Oh, okay. We'll help you, Dave. All right, well, thank you all for coming out and for participating in this. Is there anyone else that has any public comments that are not? Oh, one more?
Okay, but our next board meeting is 2 weeks.
I just wanted to thank Chris for coming on his birthday. And if anybody wants some carrot cake, I made carrot cake and one is gluten-free.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
And the other one's extra gluten?
Extra gluten.
Like the gluten.
Is there any other comments or?
The other one?
Yeah, we can. No, you can have a comment, sure. Oh, okay. Well.
It's like there's
Second. Adjourn.
Your email address. Yeah, perfect.
He didn't tell me that. He said it was the date.